এই তোমরা জয়েন করো ওকে, চলো তাহলে স্টার্ট করি। জ্যোতির্ময় রেডি?
রেডি।
হ্যালো হ্যালো, ওকে ওকে। গুড ইভিনিং স্টুডেন্টস। হয়েছে, শোনা যাচ্ছে তো? আই অডিও?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, students. Today we have Dr. Jyotirmay with us. Your faculty will take the session on writing for TV news. As you know that television's writing for TV news is completely different than we see the news in newspapers. Okay, the news story is totally and radically different from all other kinds of compositions. So here you will find a narrative, short story, novel, play, drama, book, or film skit, whatever narrative we have read upon. This is completely different. Okay, so how this news story is a story that is presented, what are the technicalities in it, what is the PTCs and all these things are required, because we right now we have around 24 hours of news channel around us. There are so many news channels that are running, right?
Sir, you are not audible.
In right now, actually, so pages of televisions. Okay, we used to have only 1 hour of news, of 15 minutes of news at a time. So from that time to now on, 24 hours of news feedback we are getting. It is also called the ENG, right? So this kind of story completely requires a different kind of writing skills. So today Dr. Jyotirmay will write the television news and write it properly, and how this is what is the present means trend in it. Okay, so guys, you please enjoy the session and please try to learn from it. Okay, and if you have any kind of doubts, please ask sir immediately. Okay, and definitely at the end of the session, not in the middle of it. Okay, Jyotirmay, please carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, most of the students are from our university, so till now I teach you about script writing in film, or how to write films. We have discussed about script writing regarding cinema or short films, or writing about documentaries. But in this session, we are going to discuss about writing for TV news. Okay. Writing for TV news is, as Abhijit Babu says, writing for TV news is completely different from about writing from for cinema, or writing for any other kind of narrative writings. In narrative writing, I just want to recapitulate with 2 or 3 things first, then we'll jump into the core subject. That writing for, when we write for serials, films, short films, or a short story or novel, we have a beginning, middle, and end. Here also we have a beginning, middle, and end, but in different order. Okay, and in case of stories or narratives, or cinema, film, or novels, or big narrative, or newspaper, we have enough time to explain any kind of things. But in case of television news, we don't have that much time. We have very little time to explain the entire things. Television, and nowadays we all are very fast. We don't have that much of time. So definitely we are going to discuss all the things. But at the beginning of the discussion, I would like to clear that thing, that writing for TV news is completely different from, as Ovidio said, writing for TV news is completely different from writing for other medias like print media or novel or cinema or any other things. So how it is different, that we are going to learn that today. Uh, Different styles, different forms, different formats, and some key words that we are going to learn, and how what are the main key points that we should always keep in our mind during writing for TV news. That is, we are going to that are the points that we are going to discuss today. Okay, and yes, definitely we are going to discuss all the queries if you have at the end of our discussion. Okay, so it's a 1 hour long session, maybe 1 hour 10 minutes. So definitely we are going to discuss 1 hour, and then after we do have 10 to 15 minutes for the discussion. It's a long subject. It's not that short. So 1 hour is a very short time. Definitely, if we have more time and more classes, then we can go inside and learn the formats, how to write, and this and that. And another thing I just want to clarify at the beginning of the session, that most of the students are from our university. So we all are here to be a filmmaker, animation filmmaker, or documentary maker. And yes, we do have a large part of mass communication. We never know that when your interests grow, when and we can jump into the television news and all. Yes, I have a very short experience of working with television and television news during my practice days. Most of the time in my practice days, I have worked with cinema and television, mainstream television, fiction area. But yes, I do have a little experience about television writing, practical session. I learned writing for television during my academical days. Yeah. So the first slide, I just don't want to just read the things. I just want to just brief it through dialogues, the writing for the television news. So there are 2 or 3 quick points that I would like to explain. News, for nowadays, for modern days, news has become very important. We all know that news is always important, and television news has become more important. So it is important. That's why today we are going to discuss, and we are discussing this. So and the medium, the policy, the policy of the news medium may increase or diminish the importance of the story, the class of the viewers and the listeners that dominates the audience of the channel determines largely what is news for the medium. The 2 or 3 points that I would like to explain with you, discuss with you, sorry, that when we go for, or when we just write a news, or we'll seek for writing for news, we definitely, firstly, we need to understand the image, or the brand image of the particular news channel, and the medium, mainly, not the news channel, or the medium. Firstly the medium, then the news channel, because each and every news channel, each and every medium has its own kind of viewer. This is called viewership of the particular channel. Okay. So if we are most of the students, if we are from West Bengal, then we can understand if we consider the viewers of regular viewers of CN and ABP Anando or ABP News. So the viewers or the viewership is completely different from one another. So writing for on the basis of the target audience, on the basis of the viewership is always different. So we need to know, or we need to understand the audience as as we when we just write for cinema, we write for documentaries, we always keep in mind, keep that thing in mind, that we write for which kind of audience or the target audience. Okay, so here we need to consider the viewership of the particular channel or particular media. Okay, and the amount of the time available on the television determines, that I already said at the beginning or the first slide, that we have very little time in television news when we write for television. And nowadays we have 15 to 30 seconds for a news. If we consider the the flow of the news, and each story should be 15 to 30 seconds long, not more than that. If it is a documentary, or it is a newsreel, it is a newsreel kind of documentary, news documentary, that is another thing. If we making a story or any kind of other kind of story, that is another thing. Okay, then you can have 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes, or mainly 15 minutes to 30 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. But if it is a running news, then you have 15 to 30 seconds, maximum 45 seconds, not more than that for a particular. So in 45 seconds, maximum 45 seconds, in an average 20 to 30 seconds, you have to explain your story. So the time is a very, very, very important thing, or very, very less. That is very important thing that we should always consider during television news. Okay. These are the things. And another thing is that repeating the same news also sometimes decreases the importance of news. Yes. If we repeat things, or if we see in every kind of representation, if we repeat things, so don't be repetitive ever. So this is a kind of instruction that we have always during writing. So writing for television is not an exception. So here also we have that same instruction, that don't be repeated. So in case of writing for films or the other seminars, I always give the same instruction, and that don't be repeated. Okay, so repetitive means this in case of the sentence, in case of the stories, in case of the very, very closely related stories or informations. So we should not be repetitive. So this is the basic things that we should know about the writing. And how to write. Yeah. So this is very interesting thing that already in the first introductory session we had a discussion. That this is there is a difference between a narrative, a short story, novel, and writing for television. If we consider a 30-second news or 15-second news or 45-second news as a story, Okay, we consider a single news, a presentation of a news in broadcasting. We consider these as a story. Okay, so so here is the uh, a very interesting thing that I'm going to share with you. If the older students, second year, third year, fourth year students are there. So that is new for you because I always say that introduction, then conflict, then end of the conflict, the climax, and then the resolution, right? So we just followed this kind of chronology in our film in case of documentary storytelling, in case of any narrative story. So firstly, just introduce or explain the premise or introduce the characters or decide the goal kind of things, right? We always divided things in introduction or beginning, middle, and end. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, if we consider 3-act structure or any other structure, if we structured some narrative. So we always introduce things with, and then the climax comes at the end of the narrative or end of the story. But in case of news, it's completely different. So this is a new thing that I'm sharing with you. That in case of television news, it comes, the climax comes first. We should start with the bang. Okay, we should start with the bang. Otherwise, for television, we have the remote in our hand always. In case of film, you just bring your audience into the theater. They buy the ticket, they enter into the cinema hall, theater, and just start watching the film. And in case of documentary, it's almost like that, not into the theater, but almost sometime into the theater and sometime into television. But in case of television news, always you sit with the remote control. So you can change anytime. Okay. If the tension of the news, or if the connect with your audience is going loosen up, so your audience is going to switch the button and move forward or switch the channel, other channel. So the story, gradually revealing the story, that formula is not applicable for television news. Okay. In case of television, we just what we do is we start with the bang, we start with the climax, and then we gradually explain what has happened, and then we just conclude or end up the story. So starting with the bang, starting with the climax, starting with the main happening, main incident is a major instrument of making news interesting. Okay, so this is something new. Then it's very, very common for each and every news or each and every news writing or yes, somehow this is applicable for documentaries as well, that 5 Ws and 1 H. In mass communication, it's very, very common. We always have to remember during the news collection also, news writing, news collection, news broadcasting, in case of documentaries as well, this 5W1H is important. And in case of news writing, news collection, during news collection, definitely we need to remember all these 5 Ws and 1H. So if your news, if your journalist didn't give you the don't give you the 5W and 1H, then when you sit for writing, how do you represent with the help of 5Ws and 1H? So we always need to keep in mind that 5Ws and 1H. Now I am going to explain that 5Ws and 1H. Most of the students definitely have idea about the 5Ws and 1H. Or these are very, very, very instinctive things, whenever we just forget about the class and forget about the master class and the formal interaction and something. So if something has happened just outside your classroom, someone is shouting, and just someone from the outside or the washroom, he just entered into the room and just start asking. Okay, so when you start asking the question, actually, the person who just came into the room, he or she had to explain the 5Ws and 1H. And the questions are always like the 5Ws and 1H. Okay, so if we see in that manner, so then we never we no need to remember, or we no need to engulf the matter and bomb it into the paper, or during your exam time, or during your practice time. No need to remember that what Jyotirmay said, or what you have read into the book, or something. So the simple thing, if one person just get into the class, or get into the room, or get into the college, and some quarrel or some marpeat or something is happening just outside of your room, and you start asking that what happened, kya hua tha? So what happened is the very first question. What happened? Okay, so and this is a very pretty obvious question. Something you're just explaining. If I am going to listen something out of the blue, so definitely the first question is what happened. Okay, so what happened is the first question. That means we are explaining the event. Okay, and that is a prime query. What happened and what is the event actually? So what is the basic and first question? And the other question definitely this comes after that. If we don't know what, then how why should we know, or why we will interested for when? If a massacre or any incident has happened in just outside of your college, and you just get into the college and just seeing that a police car or some journalists are there, some people are just gossiping in a patch or something. So the first question would be, what happened? Some agitation has happened, or something has happened, or something, or any celebrity were there for shooting or something. So if this is the answer, then when? Okay, the next question is when. So 1 hour later, 10 minutes before, 30 minutes before, or exactly at the afternoon, or whatever. So when? That means the time. So first what, then when, then where exactly. Okay, if it is just outside the college, just outside the classroom, just outside the college more, just near the college more, that just near the any just Salt Lake, anywhere, Salt Lake or Chingri Hata, or where exactly the location. Okay. Then who are the person they are involved with the incident? Okay, if any quarrel is happening outside the class, so your first concern is that who is the person? Do you know them or not? Okay, just I don't want to just give you any complex, or don't try to think it in a complex manner. Try to think it very daily basis, or daily incident manner. if anything happened just outside the class, so what is the first question? When it has started, the next question, then uh, who are the person involved in the this is a pretty obvious question. Then why they are doing so? Okay, then why they are doing so if they are just fighting together, if they are shouting on each other, if they are breaking things, if they are throwing something to each other, so that means this is a pretty obvious question. Then why they are doing so? So, and the last question, how the sequence are. If they have already done this damages, if someone just torn his shirt or throw something or break something or something, so the next last question, how? So these are the points that is very important, and if you miss any of one or two, that means your news writing is going to income. Okay, so these are the points that are that makes any news solid, complete, a full circled. Okay. In case of documentaries, also we always keep those W&H very consider these things seriously. So if we don't have we don't fulfill those criteria, if we don't answer those questions during our news writing or during our news production or during our documentaries. Why I just always I'm just using that word documentary, because documentary today and it has a documentary has a legacy in news channels or in news. That short documentaries nowadays, the 15 minutes to 30-minute documentaries, in internationally and nationally also, or we produce in news channels. So in a lot of news channels, a lot of people just work as a documentary maker, or they produce these documentaries as newses or some infotainment. That is another thing, another branch of news that definitely we can talk one day, how to plan those things. And so the content of the news. So these are the W and H of the news that we need to remember during our. The another thing that characteristics of writing. There are 4 C's that. Yes, we have the 5 C's of cinematography, and this is 4 C's in news writing. So this is another set of C's. Actually, we all know about the 5 C's of cinematography. Definitely, in the second year, third year, fourth year students, we all know the 5 C's. We have read 5 C's of cinematography, which is very important. First year students, definitely they are going to know the name of the book, but this is the 4 C's, the broadcasting journalism. The 4 C's, the correctness, clarity, conversational, and color. So these 4 C's are very important during. You need to know the characteristics of you. Definitely, you need to fulfill all this or incorporate all these things when you write for your TV script or your TV writing, anchor's copy or voice over copy. First thing is the correctness. So, and definitely we always you have to be morally very pure. That you have to always present the correct and the accurate news. So accuracy is one of the characteristics you have. You need to have, because if you present incorrect news, one day you can pass, 2 day you can pass, but gradually people will start chasing you, and definitely your credential, your credibility is going to collapse, and people will start questioning you, and your TRP is going to your popularity is going to start falling, and people will not trust you, and trust is very important in case of television news and all kind of news. You have to be trusted, so and tested as well. So you have to create a brand that you are an honest newscaster, or you are an honest news person, that you are not influenced by someone, or influenced by something. So correctness, and nowadays there are lots of sources, lots of okay, so let's continue. Uh, yeah, so the correctness or accuracy is very important. Then the clarity. There should be no ambiguity, right? There should be no ambiguity, ifs and buts, and fumbling, mumbling, and any opacity. So you have to be clear. Okay, so whatever you are, if you are comparing something, if you are giving an open-ended question, if you are giving any open discussion, whatever you are trying to say, just be firm and clearly say your point. So no opacity. Conversational. Broadcast news must sound more conversational. Uh, like you are talking to your audience. Sometimes you can use you, the word you. That means when you address the people, the when you address the sorry when you address the audience, so that means they can connect that, they can feel that the newscaster or whoever just reciting or anchoring, he or she is talking to us, so it may be conversational. The next one is color, the writing that allows the listener to paint a picture of the story or event being reported. So, color doesn't mean that I'm talking about the hue or something. Oh, I'm talking about it may be colorful, but it may be sometime strategically blank. With your fabrication, audience or listeners can put their own color. So it's your responsibility not to fix the color, not to fix the color that excuse me, I'm sorry, should I is it recording or not? Yes.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay, okay.
recording.
Extremely sorry. Extremely sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So the color, the word color is very important. That you can create it colorful, you can create it blank, but in a such a manner by which your audience or listeners can feel it like. And so they can think that this is a colorful thing. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind. Then some other characteristic features that we need to remember that quickly I'm going to explain. News more than an hour is too old. Yes, nowadays it's we don't have the long newses that at the beginning I have said already. So it's 15 to 30 seconds. The maximum length of almost any story is 2 minutes. Normal length is 30 seconds. So maximum 45 to 2 minutes. If it is very important, if it is something that you need to explain, something that you need to say some statement or any smaller interview or something. So otherwise, if you are just explaining and some pictures or some small videos are going on, so then it's 15 to 30 seconds, or it's 20 second, 2 minutes long. If it is a 2 minutes long, or if it is a 30-second long story, that doesn't mean that you have to write for 30 seconds. That doesn't mean that you have to write for 30 seconds. That means if your story is 30 seconds, that means you have to write something. Your material should be 15 to 20 minutes, maximum 20 minutes. If the news, actual length of the news is 30 seconds, think technically. If the length of the news is 30 seconds, that means maybe you have to write for 15 to 20 minutes or less than that. It may be for 10 seconds. There must be some PTC by the journalist, maybe some public address of any minister, any politician, any vox populi of any cinema theater. So lots of things we can have, but 30 seconds doesn't mean that we have to prepare a 30 seconds long script. We have to be precise, we have to be concise, and we have to just keep this thing in mind. Then the slang and the colorful phrasing is generally not permitted in broadcast. No slang. Definitely, we all or most of the people use slang. Not all. Most of the people use slang in their drawing room, their friend circle or something. But it is a formal or semi-formal platform. So you need to remember, you need to keep in mind that we should not go for this kind of discussion or some slang use or informal statement or any phrases or any phrases or any group of words or a single word that we generally don't use in a public. Okay, so always we just keep in mind that this is a formal platform, so no need to be so very formal. But although nowadays news become lots of the newscaster cast or writers write some formal sentences or phrases, but you must keep in mind that you should know the limits. Okay, so this is very important thing. Okay, the next thing should be written in the present tense. During script writing, I always tell you people that we write the present continuous tense. That but in this case it's present tense. So yes, you can say that if I report something which has happened in the past night or last night, then what? Definitely that is permissible. But when you are casting, when you are telling, when you are communicating with your audience, that means this is present. So I am explaining that has happened last night or last evening. So that should be. Okay, we need to eliminate news. We need to during when we study documentary, we talk about the thumbnail preparation. We talk about the research filtration, right? So here also, when the news came to the desk and we have a lot of news and long bites and long information, lot of informations. So this is, and you have a very lesser time, very, 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 very short time. So you need to omit the informations, and so you have to always keep in mind that you have a very lesser time. So uh, these are the things and the deadlines and all the things. So you have to always keep in mind that you have very less time in your hand. uh, Story structure that we have discussed, that dramatic structure, most common structure for the broadcast news. It has three parts: the climax, cause, and effect. Okay, so generally, I have started with a hint of this. In general storytelling, we start with the introduction, or introduction, then conflict, then the resolution. Uh, but in the resolution and the conflict, in between the area, we have the climax, or at the uh, middle part, or the act two, or we can say the middle part, the end of the middle part, we have the climax. But in case of shorter version of the storytelling, we have to start always with climax. And that gives the listener to the point of the story in about the same way that the print news story does. It tells the listeners what happened. Okay, and see, what happened. That is important. That is very important. That's why it is news, right? It has become a news. See, lots of things happen in the city, or happening today in the city right now. I'm taking the class. This is also something. So, uh, uh, so if Mr. Shahrukh Khan uh, is the person who is taking the class instead of me, so then we can say that would be a news. Okay, so if he is the person who is addressing nowadays, if Mr. Shahrukh Khan, Shahrukh Khan replaces me, so then we can say that that is a news. So what is happening, that is important, and people, that incident has the potential um, to be a news, and people are going to love to know about the incident. That's why that incident has become the news, right? And the news editor has chosen it as a news that you are going to cast today. Okay, so that means it has something which is important and more than important. So that means what happened, that is the important key point, and that is the key, that is the nodal point, we can say that is the nodal point. That's why people are going to watch the news or listen to it. So that's why we start with the climax. So if people, so see, firstly, your journalist thought that this is going to be a news. Your editor thought that this is going to be a news. Then this is it's your responsibility to make it a interactive, interesting, and punchy news to our audience. Okay, so and you are starting with the climax. So that means a lot of positive things are there by which you can connect your audience. So climax is the main thing of each and every story that we are interested. It's easy to write. It's because it has lots of potential to attract people, right? It is eventful. It has suspense. Okay, in general narrative story. So, and you can start with that climax in news story. So that's why we always start with the climax. Then the cause, why the climax is the climax, then the effect, and what is going to happen. So this is the basic story structure of general stories. And sometime I'm just adding something. Sometime we start with the effect, not, it is exception. Sometimes if something, if in 1 hour news, if we have sports time, if we have a cultural time, if we have something different bids facets, sometimes newscasters or news writers start with the effect. This is exception. Start with the effect. That today we're going to talk about or the people. So they start with the people's activity. They start with this, not the main climax. So this is exception. So the main thing is the climax, cause, and effect. So that is the structure of the story. Broadcast journalism thinks that the complete circle, because you are just giving the entire picture or entire feel of a story, because in case of news, in case of print media, you can give the only textual interaction, you can give the news, you can write it only, you can't take your audience at the ground zero level. You can't show the area or interview or the if a victim or the police, or you can give the all bites and interact with the people. So you can build one perception, or it is less bias. You can say that it's less bias, or it's a complete circle. The story must be written and fit into the time. That is definitely important. That in a time limit, you always have to finish things. So broadcast news stories cannot go into the detail. You can go detail. It is not a documentary, right? It is not a documentary. It is a brief that, and you have to collect the brief things and the very very to the point things you need to pick and just represent. So these are the things that we need to remember during the when we just structure things. Yes. Then then the um, uh, titles, some other styles that we need to remember. The titles usually come before the name. And one thing that avoid the abbreviation, except the FBI, CID, RAW, or ITDC, or this kind of. Otherwise, we all know CID, CBI, ED. We all know this abbreviations, or FBI, UN. Okay, but other things. If you are talking about the Calcutta University, so don't write CU, because Chandigarh University is also CU. So if you are talking about Jadavpur University, so don't write JU, write Jadavpur University, because Jalandhar University is also JU. So just don't do that. Avoid direct quotes. If you are just quoting someone, just explain this and then just explain the quotes and other things. Yeah. Then another things that we should remember that the number 1 that I'm going to someone's mic is unmuted. Okay. Yes, the number 1 through 9 should be spelled out. 1, TWO, HIWE. 3, Numbers 10 to 99 should be written as numbers. Then, if it is 1,000, 10,000, million, billion, just spell it and write it. And if it is more than that, write in that way: 1,500, 15 million, 15 lakhs. Otherwise, what happened? If it is, if you have write the one, then six knots. So, excuse me. Wait, sorry. So if it is, if you write one and then six knots, so your anchor will start counting the knots. So whether it is a 10 lakh or 1 crore or 10 crore. So to avoid this kind of mess, we write that if it is a 10 crore, 10 lakhs, 100 lakhs. So that is easier than other things. So that we need to keep in mind during this. So time is very less. I have 3 more things. Yes, mini documentary. I don't want to say much about that. Nowadays, we have 15 to 10 minutes long documentaries. And most of the time we have to write for documentaries. There are 2 kinds of mainly writing for that. We can write throughout voiceover. We can use interviews and voiceovers as well. So in documentary section, we definitely will learn how to make documentaries and what are the points, how to make research and all. We have had those classes earlier. But in case of news documentaries, it must be more rich in information, and infotainment are there if it is television documentary. Definitely artistic representation must be there, but apart from that, it must be entertaining, information based, and the other things, and it should be restricted into 15 to 30 minutes long, not more than that, not less than that. You can make a 5 minutes or 6 minutes documentary for television, so you need to maintain a format for television documentaries. Types of formats, copy writing formats. One is a reader copy, that reader reads, that you give the from the PCR that controlled by the PCR operators, the reader copy that they read out that. Then the voiceovers we can use during the package newses, a complete package newses, the pre-edited, pre-shot, pre-edited package. So voiceover for package newses. So voiceover writing is 2 kinds of voiceover writing. One is it's a pre-recorded, pre-edited, and pre-voiced. So this voiceover, and voice to sound bit. Sometimes the newscaster is there, they start talking, and then video footage is going on, then gradually the voiceover diminished or stopped, then the original sound is going on. So there are 3 and 4 kind of types of the formats that we need to write for that. Time is passing very fast. Yeah, television newscasts can use any of the following formats. Package stories, that I have already said, that the anchor introduces pre-recorded mixed video, that we have already have that. You have the video, we have just edited the video, then according to the length of the video that we need to fit into that, then we need to write the voiceover. So that is comparatively easy to write that. Yes, we have 20 minutes to 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 45 seconds of writing, so we can write. But sometimes that camera is panning, in live section, or you have to write just on the PCR for the a very short little time when the breakings are going on. So that makes some difficulties. Then the live shots, an anchor will introduce the story and tell the audience the broadcast, and then gradually the live session is going on. So he just says something or reads something, and then the live session is starts. So the types, so these 2 or 3 formats are important. Then another thing that I would like to say at the end, that the piece to camera, which is there are 3 kind of piece to camera at the beginning and the middle and the end. Piece to camera, we can start with PTC. We used to call that at the beginning. We can start with that makes the introduction. We need to if we create one outdoor story, we need to start with one camera bite, that is called the introductory PTC or beginning PTC. That I am today. We are here in the book fair. Today we are here in the rally. Chief minister is going to address, or prime minister is going to address, or something. So, and during the middle piece to camera, who is going what, who is telling what. So the lots of crowd, it's overcrowded, it's this and that and this, and then today we have just explained the rally, or today we just visited the rally. So I am Omo with cameraman Tom X. We are just explaining. We are just signing off. So we are that is the end of the PTC. So the PTC are 3 types: the beginning, the middle, or the bridge PTC. That bridge between the beginning and end PTC and end PTC is for the over to the studio. So this is for the day. So we don't have so much time. So that is for the day. If you have any questions, definitely when we'll have more time, we can explain which the form. We can explain the formats. We can go deep on detail with the format and the styles. There are a lot of things that we can explain during the styles. In today's session, we just have an idea, the overall idea about the writing. The main thing is how it is different from the novel and the other writing for television, cinema, or writing for films. And the pressure situation, the pressure handling is very important, because we don't have so much time for writing for television news, because if it is for short story, if it is for script, you do have time. You have time. You can think for a day or a week or something. But in case of television news, you don't have time. If the information is there, you have to write just. So yes, that was the day. That was the class. I don't have much to say. If you have anything to say, you can explain. That's it by my side. Should I? Any questions? Anybody?
हाँ सर.
Yes, Rom. Go ahead.
স্যার আপনি যে নিউজ চ্যানেলে বলছিল কি 20 মিনিট স্ট্রাইকিং হবে, এটা কি আলাদা আলাদা নিউজ রিপোর্টের জন্য আলাদা আলাদা টাইমিং হয়?
I didn't get your question. Will you
স্যার
please
আপনি
repeat?
বলেছো যে নিউজটা 3 সেকেন্ডের জন্য আপনি বলেছো.
No, 30 seconds.
হ্যাঁ
30
সরি 30 সেকেন্ডের জন্য
30 seconds।
তো আমাদেরকে লিখতে হবে 50 মিনিটস যেটা আপনি বলেছিল তো আলাদা আলাদা নিউজ জন্য যেটা রাইটিং টাইমটা ডিফার করবে
আমি এখনো তোমার প্রশ্নটা বুঝতে পারি তুমি এনি আদার ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ ইফ ইউ एक्सप्लेन मी
सर हम ये पूछ रहे हैं कि आप बोले थे कि जो न्यूज जो है वो 30 मिनट्स का होता है
30 seconds
और राइट 30 सेकेंड्स का होता है जो
30
राइटिंग
seconds
होता है
to
वो
30
50
seconds
मिनट्स
to
का
30 seconds हाँ lesser than that time yeah
हाँ तो ये जो न्यूज जो है ये डिफर करता है ये जो राइटिंग जो है
जी
ये
जी
डिफर करता है न्यूज
जी
टू न्यूज
जी
मैं
जी
ये पूछू
डेफिनेटली से फॉर एग्जांपल अगर अगर मान लीजिए कि आप एक स्पोर्ट्स इवेंट दिखा रहे हो और विराट कोहली बैट कर रहा है और कोई इंटरव्यू आप नहीं दिखा रहे हो सिर्फ उसका बैटिंग दिखा रहे हो तो सिर्फ वीडियो चल रहा है और पीछे जो एंकर है वो बात कर रहे हैं सो एंड दैट विल टेक if it is a 30 seconds video so you can write 20 to 25 seconds हाँ वो बीच बीच का 1-2 सेकंड का गैप आप दे सकते हो लेकिन if you have the bite of Virat Kohli saying something so after the 100 knock Virat Kohli interviewed by Ravi Shastri you have that interview also so so आपको कम लिखना पड़ेगा अब 15 मिनट और 10 मिनट लिखे विराट कोहली आज 100 नॉक किया है तो 2 शॉट उधर दिखा दिए फिर आके रवि शास्त्री का एक इंटरव्यू दिखा दिए फिर आके आपका एंकर कंक्लूड कर रहा है सो आपको अभी 10 to 15 सेकंड्स लिखने से ही वो आपका 30 सेकंड्स का पैकेज बन जाएगा नहीं तो अगर आपके पास वो कुछ नहीं है तो आप ये लंबा हो गॉट माय पॉइंट
सर यस
ओके एनी अदर क्वेश्चन इफ यू हैव Aniket, Ullash, Dolon, Shaun, any question?
No, sir, no question.
Okay.
স্যার কিছু স্টুডেন্টস এখনো আসেনি
Okay, thank you. Shujay,
Yes, sir.
should I call the day off or?
Yeah, you can. Students, so we already at the threshold of this moment. The thing is that there are a lot to know, and day by day you are learning all those things. You pick the knowledge and fill these things to your like memories or brains or wisdom, whatever we can say. The thing is that if you have any query, you can ask. If you don't have any query, then it's also okay. Just feel free to fill up the feedback form. And there is a suggestion and question section also. If you have any sinus on your mind that you cannot ask the question right now, you can directly write down on that feedback section, and definitely we will get back to you. So we will wrap up this session right now, and we'll again thank you for all of you to attend this session, and have a nice day. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jyotirmay sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll end up this session.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Thank you.